Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know.
Hello YouTube, it's your girl Kimberly. Thank you for coming back to my channel. In this video, we are going to talk about the downfall of girl trips and group trips. So I'm going to tell you why they go bad, what you could do to make sure they don't go bad before you even have the trip, and kind of some ideas of what you could do when you get there and you start to have issues. Alright, so if you want to know more, keep watching. Alright, so before we jump into talking about the downfall of girl trips and group trips, let's first get some housekeeping out the way. I'm over here keep playing with my hair, girl. Okay, there we go. One, subscribe. Welcome if you're new, welcome back if you're a part of the crew, and hit the subscribe button. That way you won't miss out on any of the great beauty, travel, tech videos that I make here for the channel. Also, if you like this video, like the video and hit the notification bell so that way whenever I post a new video, you will know that I posted. Alright. So basically, I've seen a lot of recent YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, copy from TikTok videos about two separate situations with group/girl trips going bad. One was a young lady who took a trip to Mexico, basically complaining that there was a friend there that only had $135, but then ultimately it came out that she had brought her man on the trip and that was not a part of the original plan. And then that ensued, causing extra situations that made her mad and feel uncomfortable and the people in the group. The second one was there were some influencers and then they were on live and basically started arguing about situations that happened, and they were also on a group trip for somebody's birthday. So for that one, I know some of the people look familiar, but in terms of the names and the faces, I don't know exactly, so I'm not going to dive in about which one's which, but if you know, you know. And if you don't know about those two situations from social media recently, you've definitely heard people who just have been going viral over the years about things that go wrong on group trips or drama that they have on group trips. And then you have personal friends, people you may know, who might have went on a group trip and it was like a disaster and the issue that happened. All right, so, and it's been very prominent in the news and stuff lately. So there are a few factors that contribute to the downfall of girl trip group trips that can be avoided if you plan ahead and also try to enable some of your conflict resolution skills, so that way you could try to work it out and make sure that everybody has the best trip possible. All right, so the first downfall of the trip is that before the trip, so I have a whole handy dandy notebook of notes. So usually the downfall of group trips, girl trips, is that you don't, in the beginning, before you start planning for the trip, you're not clear about setting an intention of the budget and the expectations for the trip. So what I've seen happen sometimes, it's not every situation, is that one person or two people or three people are intentional about, this is where we're going, this is what we're doing, and this is how it's going to be. And then the other people in the trip are just like, I want to go away, or I want to go to that place. So then they add on to the trip and they come, but they don't understand the person who's planning the trip's original intention and expectation. And also another issue is that the people who are then coming later, they don't have a opportunity or a way to convey what they want to do, because they might be feeling like, well, I don't want to change the plan because I'm adding myself on later. But when you don't have kind of a part of that planning, for some people it can cause them to become like less invested in the success of everybody having a good time, because it's kind of like, well, this is what she picked, this is what they picked, this was their plan, and now that it's falling apart, like, I'm just gonna sit back and watch everything burn, because if she would have asked me from the beginning or let me have some input, we could have avoided this whole thing, you know. So I would definitely say a way to avoid that is when you start planning a trip at the beginning, the people who you're bringing in to be a part of it, give them an opportunity to give advice of like locations, unless you're like already dead set on a place, but like places to stay, like have a Google Doc or some kind of setup, so that way they could be a part of contributing and giving information also. So yeah, have the group do research and they give feedback, give deadlines for certain things you're looking for, because when the group plan, it comes on better. In terms of setting that attention that y'all didn't set at the beginning of the trip, there needs to be a discussion about budget, price, hotels, flights, food, activities, Airbnbs. Like, you should be having a group discussion to talk about this. So one way I would say is either like if everyone's local, you can be like, oh, we're all gonna go to like happy hour, dinner, street festival, activity with all the people who are going to be on the trip, so we can kind of talk about it, get each other's vibe, and before we start going into our planning that we want to do kind of asynchronously on the internet, right? So that way when you have that meeting, everybody sitting down talking about their different things, it'll be very clear what people want, what they don't want, how people feel, and it might be the opportunity for someone to be like, "Ooh, I didn't even know it was gonna be that kind of trip. Let me exit stage left now. I love y'all, but I just don't want to do that," you know. So having that in-person meeting to kind of set that. If you're not able to do that, I would say like a group FaceTime or maybe like a Zoom, but definitely try to have the group come together before and to talk. So that way you can kind of have some of these discussions and be clear about that. I would also say, in terms of the people sharing information about Airbnbs, hotels, flights, and stuff like that, set up a Google Sheet or Google Doc, and then give everybody in the group permission to be editors, commenters, and then people could put in different stuff. So if you use a sheet, it's a little bit easier because then you can have like a hotel tag, flight tag, activity tag, sheet, and then have like one for each sheet, and then people could go in and put their own contributions inside of it, and God forbid somebody deletes it, you could just go back to like an older version and bring everything back. But I think that's a really good way to do the planning with a group. So be clear who could come and who can't come. There's so many video situations of people. It was like, we had the trip, and then all of a sudden they included their man. They we said no boys, and then they brought a boy and something like that. I'm always curious. Sometimes girl trip, no boyfriends are implied, but some people's inference skills are not as strong as others, and you just have to clearly state what it is from the beginning. This is a girls trip, no boyfriends allowed. If you feel like you need to come with your boyfriend, then you don't need to come on this trip. And it sounds harsh and it sounds messed up because that's your friend and you don't want her to be left out. But if there is some kind of contentious situation where she feels like she can't be separated from him, then she needs to figure that out on her own, not while we're on our vacation that we paid for. Like, this is not the time. So be very, very clear about that in the beginning. My personal experience, what I would say regarding that is, whoever is in the room with the girl with the boyfriend, have a plan B. Either have the room in your name and be like, well, I'm paying for it, so he can't come, so y'all need to go book your own room. Or if she has a room on her card, make a plan for a backup with somebody else, so that way you can either stay with them or something like that, because that is just, you want to have an exit plan. But my whole thing is, before y'all even plan for the trip or leave for the trip, make it very clear to her. And shoot, even if y'all see them together, make it clear to him too, we don't want you there, it's a girls trip, like so that way they will kind of know to stay away. But definitely, if you feel like this, first of all, if you're friends with somebody and you feel like they're gonna try to pull an okie doke to sneak their man on a girls trip, that's a whole nother video. But what I'm gonna say is, make a exit plan strategy just in case, because at the end of the day, they could go, they have the Google Doc, they could go to all the things that the group's doing without us on the side. Okay, vacations are also a thing. Like, y'all could just go on a vacation, y'all don't have to leech on with us. But anyway, I'm gonna continue. Next thing, that I think could cause a problem in real life. When you don't have that meeting to set expectations, people have different ideas of what the trip should be. So for example, there's an idea of travelers versus vacationers. So people who are travelers are like, I want to see the place, try different foods, do the things that happen in this place that cannot be done anywhere else in the world, or that I've never done before, right? And then you have vacationers who are like, I want to relax, I want to be on the beach, I want the sun on my face, I want to drink in my hand, and I don't want to do any strenuous activities. I'm here to relax from the stress of my life back home. When you have a group trip with those two types of personalities, sometimes it could crash. The travelers are like, we're waking up at 5 a.m. for a 6:45 excursion. Then we're going to go, you know, bar, another bar, club. Like, there's some people, those are like travelers. And then there's vacationers who, you know, they're just like, what? Why are we doing all this stuff? I want to relax. And then vacationers who are just like, the trip is the resort. This is what we're doing. And then the travelers are just like, no, this is boring. I don't want to just stay at the resort the whole time. Or just do one or two things, like every day needs to be jam-packed with activities. I want to be able to do X, Y, and Z. So again, because that clash is so common on trips, address it from the beginning. What do you want to do when you go here? What do you not want to do? Are you a morning person? Are you not a morning person? What kind of activities do you like? Are you sportsy? Can you swim? Like, all of that stuff needs to be talked about before you even start planning. Another kind of idea behind this with the group dynamics is split the check versus I pay for what I ate. So when you go to restaurants, some people's personalities are like, split the check is cool. Other people are like, no, itemize it, break it down for exactly what I ordered. You need to figure out which is which in the group, and if everybody is split the check people, then you could do that. If everybody's I paid for exactly what I ordered people, then you could do that. But the problem comes in when you have both types of people mixed in one group. So like I said, you want to have that pre-trip meeting conversation, which a lot of groups don't have. And that is going to kind of X-nay and get rid of that. I also think that a lot of people feel like it's the birthday person's trip, so let's all just make it work for the sake of the person in the birthday group, and that's not how real life works. People are still clinging to their ways of how they like to do things, and that is, it is what it is. So either y'all gonna fight it out in the trip, or y'all gonna fight it out in real life. So that is part one of the downfall of girl trip group trips. I'm gonna come with a part two because this video is getting a little long, where I download and tell y'all the rest of my tips. But hop in the comment section below and let me know about some positive group trip experience you've had, or even negative ones, and if you think that these things would have helped if your group would have did it before the trip. All right, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in